Okay, guys, welcome to CrohnsCast Live. We are live tonight with Iron Mike, as you may know him on Instagram, and he's got a really interesting story. We're going to discuss that at length. I've been pre-briefed, and we'll chance to talk a little bit about fitness as well and how that has helped along the way in ensuring health, happiness, and all of those things. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to welcome Mike into the room. And Mike, if you just want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, Mike Lisenchuk from Vancouver Island. Got diagnosed with severe Crohn's 3 years ago and had a full removal of my colon with possibility of a reversal of the ostomy bag.
Yeah, I mean, that's 3 years. That's a very short time period as well to go from diagnosis to like a full colostomy. So what, if you could just touch on a few things for us, like what was your life like prior to diagnosis and then your journey up to being diagnosed, what was happening?
Well, before any diagnosis, there was the only thing that kind of really bothered me was like I was getting ulcers, like sores inside my mouth and diarrhea the odd time, but it was never a thing with blood in it or any kind of signs of maybe I should go get checked up. So there was no signs of, I didn't even know what Crohn's disease or any of these symptoms were at the time. I thought I was living a healthy life leading up until I got sick. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, some weird things were happening to me, and went into the hospital, and I was admitted for about 2.5 months. And in that time, there was an emergency procedure, and they removed a big chunk of my colon. And I was left with part of my sigmoid. And in that process of being reconnected in the hospital, it actually came apart during my healing time in there. So it was another emergency surgery after that, and that's when they gave me the ostomy bag.
And how long were you in hospital before the surgery started?
Pardon me?
How long were you in the hospital before surgery started?
Well, I got admitted after I went into the emergency, complaining about my stomach and no bowel movements and whatnot. And I was in the emergency room for about 2 days, and then I was admitted into the hospital. And probably about 3 to 4 days of sitting in a room, I bled out my rectum, and next thing you know, that's when they had to perform emergency surgery on me. So
how did you take that? How did you take that news? Like, was it something you were sort of in the back of your mind expecting, or was this like just right in the face out of the blue?
Oh no, so like I had no idea what was happening. I had zero idea. I remember waking up and like being dragged through the puddle of blood back to my bed, and the next thing I woke up out of surgery. I think they had me in like shackles and stuff like that. Like it was really intense. I had no idea what happened. I woke up and I seen my stomach was cut wide open with the bandages and whatnot. I still had no idea what happened, because before this, in the room that I was staying in, I would just get up and try to go to the bathroom, and that's all I was doing. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. They tried to do a colonoscopy, and it wasn't successful. And like I said, next thing I knew, I woke up and they did something to me, right? no idea what Crohn's was. I didn't think like I said, I had no idea. It was really just happened out of nowhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's amazing how quickly it went from being a normal sort of, or for argument's sake, healthy lifestyle to them being hospitalized and emergency surgery. Like, was there any symptoms that you were able to say, "Ooh, that's not right," or was it just literally a couple of days of like blood and diarrhea to I need to get to hospital?
Well, like before this, I was working, and I think it was August. It was August when, and here on Vancouver Island, we were in hot summer, and we usually get shut down for logging because fires can happen from doing logging activities. So we were in kind of shutdown mode anyway. So that day I came home, I didn't feel good at all. I couldn't eat nothing. My mouth was full of ulcers. I wasn't really having too much bowel movements, but I kept eating food. I kept trying to eat food, and the bowel movements that would happen, it was very painful. And still at this point, there was no blood. Um, and even at this point, I was still trying to juice my vegetables. I just thought I just had a stomach ache. I thought I was going to be okay, you know. Um, and even at that time, I was juicing raw beets, and raw beets just kind of go through my system, and it comes out red, right? And I did have like a kit to take a sample of anything coming out, and when I took the sample, I brought it in. Then they said that I think the results came back. I was anemic, and there was blood in the stool, and so that kind of raised some bells and whistles. But still, there wasn't a big push to get me a colonoscopy to get tested and checked. So I think a couple of days of that and trying some home remedies and everything. Trying home remedies was my best thing. The one thing I did notice that was really weird was my left foot. My left foot swelled right up, and I had no idea. I thought I heard it at work. I thought I sprained my ankle at work, which wasn't the case. And then I thought I maybe got bit by like a bug or something, a spider, and that still wasn't the case. And I guess that could have been like some kind of sign
Yeah.
that I was really sick, right? My immune system. I don't know. Like I said, before this, I had no idea what Crohn's was or colitis or any of that kind of stuff, right?
I mean, it sounds
So
pretty crazy. It's particularly the short time frame. And then I guess, like doing the job that you did, to get a swollen ankle may not be that unusual for you as well. But then it's also like when you're in the know, like autoimmune diseases, and inflammatory diseases, so to speak, can affect joints, and it's like one of the byproducts. But you're not going to know that unless you've done like a bit of
no.
research in and around. So yeah, like, it's got to have been so confusing for you. So you've been through this process and you've had like a whole battery of tests in a very short period of time. What was it like waking up? Well, like you obviously went in, had this emergency surgery, weren't really sure what was the outcome. What was it like waking up, having had the surgery? What was your first sort of reactions to it?
When I first woke up, I had a really hard time breathing. That was probably the biggest thing, and not being able to move, not being able to. And at the time, this is really weird too, because the hospital I was in was being like taken down. They were tearing down the hospital, and the new hospital was like across the street, and it was being built. And I was in the process of being moved from this hospital to the new hospital. So when I woke up, I had no idea where I was, and I basically woke up in like an empty floor on the hospital with like a couple nurses, and it was really weird. It was super weird. I didn't have a lot of family around me either. I had my mom come up for a visit, but there wasn't a whole lot. So when I woke up, it was pretty weird, right?
And was this on Vancouver Island still?
Yep. No, they my most of my family lives in Ontario, Ontario. So it's tough. It's tough, right? And I was married, and I have a child. So yeah, so they were around a little bit, but yeah, life goes on, even though a guy's sick, right? Things still go on, and just I guess the people I was surrounded by, things business as usual, even though I'm sick in the hospital. But
So what was life
so
like
yeah,
adjusting to having an ostomy? How did you find that difficult? And like interaction with people, like how was life initially getting used to that ostomy?
uh, well, it took a while. So like I think it was about 63 days I was in that hospital, and then I think it was October sometime when I left. And even then, after I got out of the hospital, I still had to go see my surgeon to get like a full diagram drawn on what they did to me, because it still didn't set in. Like the ostomy bag, it was still a new thing, and still unsure how to change it. I didn't like it. Uh, I had nurses coming to my house to help me change it, to train me how to change it. And my biggest thing was, I guess I have this thing for life, kind of. They said there was a reversal surgery in a year's time. But my biggest concern was, how am I going to live with this? How am I going to continue on my life? How am I going to get back to normal? Was always going
Yeah.
through my head. And the stuff that they gave me for like the ostomy care and the supplies was hospital grade stuff. So at that time I was like, oh, this stuff is there's got to be something better, right? There's got to be something better than this hospital grade stuff. Just to that's in my mind. I still had no idea about any of the products out there, and that was a huge turning point, was finding the right products for me, and gave me the confidence to get back out there and to regain my life.
And what sort of process did you go
Just
through to find this new stuff? Like, how did you end up finding it? Was there like, did you find you referred to new people, or was it through chatting to people, or how did you find it?
yeah. So there was a nurse that I heard about, and she was really involved in ostomy care. So I made an appointment to go see her, and she hooked me up. She hooked me up with everything that I needed for my body type, and also I was like introduced to like a stealth belt, like a belt that's holds everything together basically. And that was my turning point. That was my big turning point, was having that belt.
And what was your main
And it
concern
was
with the
more like
ostomy? So, because you
my main
mentioned returning to
concern
normal.
at that point was just having this apparatus on my stomach. It was so like my father died of colon cancer 15 years ago, and he had a colostomy bag. And when he came out of the hospital, it was like I've never been involved in that. I've never seen it, and the way it went for him, it wasn't a good procedure. It was very messy, and so I had that in my mind, right? I guess it's kind of a stigma that a lot of people know, or they think about ostomies or colostomy bags. That they're kind of dirty and gross for some people. Like it's a harsh thing. Um, so me wrapping my head around everything that I've been through previous before that, and now I have it. Um, it was a thing of concealing it and living my life. It was a very harsh thing. It was a very tough thing to pass.
Yeah, it's
But with the bag, the belt.
Yeah, it's a really difficult time, and I think a lot of people do struggle with adjusting to that. And like for argument's
Mhm.
sake, you are a very like just from having met you and seen your profile, um, a very physical guy, and I guess this can feel like you're almost having a loss of your physical ability, which can be a real like that's a real game changer,
Right.
to have that just thrust upon you. So you've done like an immense job to sort of get through that, and I just wondered if you'd be able to touch on like what sort of things did you turn to help you cope?
Well, a big thing as well was being introduced to medical cannabis. Um, that's been a huge player in my recovery. Um, I don't think ever since I've been granted my own medical cannabis, I don't think I've ever stopped, and I use it. I use it for everything, from coping, from stress, to eating, to sleeping, for pain. And that's the other thing. I haven't any pharmaceutical drugs from the doctors. I haven't been on any prescriptions. I don't even have a gastroenterologist doctor, which is bizarre. Um,
And do you feel
it took
more or
took
less
about
symptom
two
free?
years after I got in the hospital. Sorry, what's that?
I was just saying, do you feel somewhat symptom free whilst taking this course of medicinal uh what is it? Medicinal marijuana, is it?
Yeah, cannabis. Yeah,
Medicinal cannabis, that's it.
medical
Um,
cannabis.
that's the one. So like do you feel symptom free and have done for the last couple of years now?
Yes, I don't have any symptoms anymore. The odd time I'll get like a small little ulcer, like inside my mouth, and that kind of I don't know if that reflects on going back to Crohn's or any sort of thing like that, but it's nothing like it ever was before. Um, the only other thing that does happen is a blockage or an adhesion blockage inside my intestine. I've had a couple of them. I've had a couple where I didn't need emergency treatment. The last one actually I had right before the COVID virus hit really hard here, and I was fortunate enough to get that dealt with right away. Unfortunately, that's the only issue that I do have is a blockage. Whenever it happens, it's not controllable. It kind of happens. But I do have some supplements that kind of are good for your intestines, and they try to help your adhesions and your scarring inside your intestines.
I think that's incredible that you've been able to have such a turnaround within your Crohn's
Yeah,
disease.
yeah. There's always a big question: is did I even have Crohn's? Um, because I think I left this out here. So before this all happened, I had my appendix removed. Yeah, I totally forgot to mention that. I did have my appendix removed. Um, I had the option of taking medication or to have it removed. At the time, I was working away in logging camps, so I decided to get it removed. Um, I think my recovery time was probably about 4 weeks, and that was my only time I was down. And then I was right back in the gym. I was right back to work. I was 235 pounds, and then all of a sudden, 3 months down the road, they took my entire colon. It's totally bizarre, right? You know, the issue now at hand is,
And that's 3 months
having
after
reversal
your appendix was
surgery
taken out.
and possibly, that's right. So you know, there's a small little question about that appendix removal. Was there anything, you know, they never saw no Crohn's, they never saw my colon bloody or anything like that. So I can't, and like when they did remove my colon, it was so bad that they had to like scoop it out. I have pictures of it. It was black. It was pretty much rotting off, which I can't see that happening. It's very bizarre. It's a mystery. I'm all good now. I've healed up from it, so I've kind of just tucked it under the rug and left it as it is and not dug into it anymore. So it's a very bizarre story. Like, who knows, right?
Yeah, no, mate, it's crazy. Like like I've mentioned this a couple of times, the time frame is exceptionally short, and all the little bits and pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that you're explaining there, it is exceptionally complex. And you know, you've had to go through a lot, and there's a lot of question marks, I feel, still as well, that are presiding over the whole situation. So for you, what's changed now? So like you have had a whole life, oh, for want of a better word, before you were diagnosed and before you had to go through this life-changing surgery, which you're not sure if you actually needed in the first place. But what's changed for you, and how has life changed? Has it changed for the better?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, so since this, I did try to go back to logging, falling trees, and physically, I can't work like I used to anymore. And in that job, you have to be 100% physically able to go and work very, very hard. So since last July, I've pretty much retired from logging, um, and now I'm just taking care of myself, doing some online businesses, and just trying to make it through. So
I mean, that's
it's changed. It's changed quite a
how
bit.
did
For
you
sure.
how did you arrive at the decision to stop logging? What was the main factors that were made you decide you need to change your career?
The main factor was probably the physical and the mental state I had to be in.
And did this change your relationship and things? You mentioned you've got a daughter and stuff. Like how did they manage, or how has your relationship been with them through this process?
Um, yeah, I actually went through a divorce last summer as well. So that changed quite a bit. It's kind of picking up here.
I still get you good, but you are coming in a little bit.
You can still hear me good?
Yeah, I can still hear you good. It's just there's a bit of delay, and every so often you might cut in and out a little bit.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that.
So you've been through it all, really, haven't you? It's been a crazy few years, but you've moved across now into the sort of fitness industry. Can you talk about your decision to move in that direction?
Okay, so it was a hard question. I think how things really changed for me with the fitness and getting back into it was how it all first started was preparing for my surgery, the reversal surgery. And I knew it was going to take a year for the surgery to be available for me. So I basically just trained my butt off to be can. Just to put that in my mind that when I did have the surgery, I would recover very quick. I was working down, training my butt off every day, eating as healthy as I can, eating all the right foods that my body can process. I was going very, very hard. And then I was kind of slapped with a divorce, so to speak. So another kind of downgrade. And at that time, I was in the process of going to have my surgeries. And the surgery wasn't going to be an easy one because they had to open me up again. I was hoping they would do laparoscopic surgery and open my stomach again and the reversal. So that was a huge thing to put on my plate, and moving, and I just couldn't see it in the future of having this reversal in the state I was in, and all the new things coming to my life at that time. So I didn't go and do it, and I needed my strength. My physical, my strength to get me through the divorce and the whatnot, right? So I'm here now, I guess, a year later after all that happened, and I am very healthy and very strong. And I think I can go forth with the surgeries now. So that's where I'm at. I'm back training again, and I'm going to train hard. And if I can have the surgery in a year, then I'll probably get it done.
And so what's your main focus within your training?
Probably mostly strength training. I'm not trying to go on any. It's mostly strength training, and mental training is a huge thing.
And what is it in particular, sort of mental training wise? What is it? What are the sort of things that you do?
Doing it when I'm meditating, I'm thinking about that surgery. To be honest with you, I'm thinking about how my body's going to react to the recovery time, and that's where I'm at in my mind when I'm lifting. Is I'd say it's about 87% of the time that I'm thinking about this surgery and how I'm going to recover. And I can't say for sure that lifting weights and being healthy and strong is going to help I'm sure it will, but I just don't know. I really don't know. I hope it works for me, but.
Yeah, and I think the sort of mind side of thing is something that it's a bit pop culture at the minute. Mental health has become a very mainstream topic currently, but I do think sometimes people kind of forget about it, and it can be such an important part. Just if you look at elite sport and things, mindset and being able to be mindful and actually having a good mental game is so important. and the stuff you're practicing, like trying to be mindful, doing your meditation, and helping to zone things in, it's a really powerful tool. Have you noticed any benefits whilst doing this, or how has this made a change in your life?
Well, in order to do this successfully, a big change in my life was not logging anymore and not having that schedule of go, go, go. And now I've kind of created my own schedule where I can make the time to focus in on the things that benefit me. Not everyone can do that. I'm very lucky that I have the time, and everything's kind of thrown out the door to do sort of things like this. Because I think it's very, very important for me to have another successful recovery. My surgeries, the first two surgeries, there was a code blue, which is you kind of die. You kind of die on the operating table, and that happened to me twice. So I'm lucky to be here, so to speak. So I just want to go into the surgeries knowing that I'm going to be okay and make it out on the other side, it's a crazy thing to say, but I've already been there. And at that time, I guess I wasn't that healthy. I just had enough health to make it out alive from that last hospital experience. So, coming into the next surgeries, it's playing in my head. What if that happens again? But, I'm going to be in a better spot. I'm not going to be, sick. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be strong. And I think that's going to be like the deciding factor. I don't drink. I don't smoke other than the cannabis, but a lot of it's ingested. It's a huge thing. And having the time to do all these sort of things is that's the only way I could do it. If I had a full-time job, 8 hours, 12 hours a day, I don't think I would be where I'm at and have the mindset where I'm at. I just don't know. I don't know. I know what I'm doing right now is working, and it's working very well. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and just whatever happens, happens.
And I think that's one of the main points, or one of the important points I think a lot of people with IBD sort of come to in their own time, is learning that self-care mechanism and trying to sort it out or balance things a little bit better in their favor within their lives themselves. So it's really interesting how you've managed to do that. And again, it's credit to you. Like those are massive decisions to make, and you cannot make those decisions lightly. So what's your sort of advice that you would give? So say there's someone in the comments has mentioned that their son is potentially going to have an ileostomy reversal. I just wondering, what would your advice be to those people that are on waiting lists for surgery, be it from a fitness perspective, a personal perspective, or a mindset perspective? Just what would you advise those people?
I think a big thing will be on their recovery. The recovery is where you're going to be successful in the end. And I think, doing your research on what your body needs, and I think leading up to the surgery as well is a big thing on how you could take care of your body, because like you don't I think you want to avoid foods that can make you sick again, and I think it's a big thing to know to do your research on how you want to recover. Like, I think it's an opportunity to have a reversal, and it's a new way to look and a new way to treat your body. From what I've been told, to have it reversed back to having a bag, it's not a great experience. And I think this is one shot that you can have to a happy, healthy life after you have the reversal. which is my goals, is what I'm doing, because I don't think I'd want to go through this experience ever again. And that's kind of one reason where I'm at. Like, do I want to keep the bag, or do I want to get rid of it? But I think committing and getting rid of the bag is a huge thing to be doing to your life, because there is the possibility for more medications. There's possibilities for the disease to come back, and then if it does come back, you're on medications, and everyone's different. There's people maybe on medications with an ostomy bag. Everyone's different. But living a healthy life is one of the biggest goals that you should be putting in, and not just, okay, great, I get to lose the bag and blah 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 blah. It comes with a big responsibility, I believe, to stay healthy and to stay in remission. It's a pretty easy life right now with this ostomy bag. I can eat most things. A lot of raw foods I don't eat. I don't eat any raw foods. So my life is really good. I can eat a lot of shit, a lot of junk, so to speak, if I wanted to. But I think once the bag is gone, I think you really have to hone in your health. You have to hone in on the food you put in your body. It's going to be a very, very big thing for me as well. It's going to be another transition. I do eat healthy, but I think once the bag's removed, I think it's going to have to step it up a notch. Mm-hmm. That's just my perspective on it, and I think everyone has to do their research and listen to your body. That's a very important thing. To see how your body reacts to everything, and even healthy food can make you sick.
I think you're right. It's a very personal choice to make. You were talking about that your training focus is also on strength training, and I'm just wondering, what do you feel this will benefit, or how will this benefit you for your surgery?
Well, I think being having the strength and having the lean mass, and I think it's just a healthy thing to have for everybody. Being unhealthy I don't think many doctors even recommend you coming in for a surgery if you're not in really good shape. I wouldn't say really good shape, but I think anywhere you could look online or do your own research, and the benefits of having a healthier body going into surgeries is just improves your recovery time.
Yeah, and I think you're so true. Like we advise a lot of our military patients to get as strong as possible. So if we've got an opportunity to do prehab, as we would call it, we try to focus on getting as strong as possible before surgery, because it's, for want of a better word, surgery is like getting hit with a sledgehammer. So the bigger and stronger you are before it, the less of a knockback it can potentially be afterwards. So if you think about it, it's like getting a head start.
Right. Like, there's other people, and there's people that do their thing. I'm just going from my experience. When I first got sick and I was admitted in the hospital, I was about 235 pounds, lean, and living my life very strongly. And the doctors told me, if it was somebody else, they probably would have never made it. That they go through two sessions of, flatlining, and then 2 major surgeries. And I don't know, I had like 4 or 5 blood transfusions. They said if I wasn't the way I was, I probably would have never made it. So, okay, so I got a surgery, and I went. That was the first thing on my mind, was to get back into shape and to get strong again, and start for the next surgery, right? So, that's just me. I don't know. I think that's my fighting chance. So I'm just going to continue on, and when I get out of that next surgery, I'll do the same thing, and I'll continue on with lifting weights and being healthy and researching more health and researching more products to stay healthy. And you know, if that's my job, then that's my job. I'm also a full-time father too, but my health is number one.
No, it's amazing. So you mentioned obviously that your surgery was, it's obviously it was successful, but there was a number of complications during the processes. And do you feel like you've got a second chance?
Yes, big time.
How has that affected your life? Like, what is that? In what ways has that impacted your life, and does it change your outlook and things?
Um, yeah, it did. But to really understand why you have that opportunity to come back has been a huge thing to wrap my head around. Is it the regret, having no regrets? And there's been a lot of things to wonder why I get that opportunity. I still haven't wrapped it around my finger why I have the opportunity. But I'm very grateful of it. I live my life knowing that I'm here to have another second chance, right? So, and I think that's a big thing for me, to be able to walk away from a lot of things in life that prevent me from keeping my health, right? Was having to know that I had that second chance, is to be like, stop doing this. Let's focus on you, focus on your health, focus on taking care of you. All that other stuff, it doesn't matter, because that's where you could go down another path and start worrying about all these other things that are in your life that are just gonna complicate things. When in reality, it's your health. If you don't have your health, I wouldn't be here. So, like, to worry about checking the mail or cutting the grass, so to speak, or whatever, these sort of things, having that second chance and knowing that in my mind is it's a lot easier to say no to. Say no to this, say no to that, and focus in on me. That's a big thing about having that second chance and knowing that. I think that's played a huge role in my recovery as well. So it could be the other street saying, he didn't die in the hospital. There was only one surgery. That was easy for him. So if that was easy for me, maybe I wouldn't be living a life of hardcore health, so to speak. Right? If things were easy for me in the hospital, who knows? Maybe I would have went back logging, and maybe I would have had an accident out there. I don't know, right? So yeah, I guess, having such a hard time with that surgery, and then all the things that have kind of got piled on top of that, I think they're great. I think it's kind of shaped me to this new person that I'm at. I have no regrets, and even though it was a harsh time in the hospital, I respect that harsh time, and I respect on what was given to me. Even the divorce, like, it's all a major learning curve, and yeah, I'm glad everything that happened. As my life has changed. I have an ostomy bag. I made the best out of it, and there was a point in my life where it would bring me down. Be like, try to make an excuse for everything because of this ostomy bag, and that's just got to go, right? That just can't happen. Those excuses of an ostomy bag. Is it a disability? I don't know. It can be for some people. Physically, for me, it was, and in that aspect was going back to my job. The physical aspect was kind of had a disability towards that. The gym's a little different. I only spend 45 minutes to an hour in the gym, and that's about all I really got left in me during the day. So,
well, you're looking pretty impressive for it. what has been the main sort of inspiration, or what have been the things that have kept you going? Because you mentioned obviously you've been through a hell of a lot, and it's been like it feels like from listening to the story at the minute, one thing after another. You've hit a really good point, I feel, from listening to this chat, where there's a lot of gratitude for your journey and the position it's put you in today. But what has been the things that have pulled you through the darkest hours and helped you get to this place that you're in now?
This gets me through the darkest hours. Just knowing how life has all these surprises for you, and every day is different. Today might be shitty, but tomorrow is going to be even better day. You don't know, and to live to the next day for the next day it's a pretty special thing. Even though like there's a day where it's like, yeah, you want to just stay in bed, but there's tomorrow, or there's the next day after tomorrow. Just having that in your mindset, because there's always good days and there's bad days. There's no way around it. You're always going to have a bad day. Yeah, I'm having a great week. Everything's great. And, lately my lawn tractor's been breaking every week. And it's kind of driving me nuts, but, the grass can grow. The grass can be cut eventually, but, and eventually, with this ostomy bag and the surgeries and not having much support it's very difficult. But the things that get me through that, like I said, is the good days. Knowing I have a young daughter to raise, or the next day in the gym is going to be amazing, and it's gonna revamp everything, right? Having that gym support. Having my SoundCloud tunes, and that's my major support, is having all that stuff. When COVID hit, all the gyms shut down. I have a small little mini gym at home. I still didn't get what I needed out of it, but now that I'm back in the gym, I'm back to normal, and everything's functioning very well. So I don't know.
And with your training, sorry, I was just going to say, with your training and stuff, like how do you train? Is there anything that you need to do that is new, with regards to like energy or like styles of training that you might use that are different?
Right. So I do use some supplements for training, but training with an ostomy bag is something different, and it's a skill. It becomes a skill, to be coming into a gym, and I don't broadcast that I have this. Nobody knows about it unless I get into an in-depth conversation with somebody and it comes out, right? I don't go out of my way. This is my personal thing. It's my personal journey. Nobody needs to know. But training in the gym with one of these ostomy bags, you always you're worried that the bag's going to be too full. You're worried about the bag being ripped off. I do a lot of fasting, which is a huge thing on my output and how much comes out. And it's taken me 2 years to actually have some bit of a control of how my output works and how often things come out.
And what sort of things do you do to prep for that then? What's your sort of process to make sure, like, is there a specific meal that you do or a specific time that you would not eat after?
Well, before I had a colon, I would probably eat like an hour or half hour before I trained. Now I eat right before I train. And I don't do any pre-workouts, which a lot of people are taking. I don't know what's in them. I don't know how they affect your body. So I'm pretty natural that way. And
the pre-workout can be pretty crazy as well. I think it's
it's a little heavy duty. And there's lots of things out there that people are trying to put in their body, and it's like, you don't know. So I try to keep things natural, and I'll have a coffee. I drink iced coffee, and that's been like my staple. That's been my staple since I've been out of the hospital, is iced coffee, and I never even drank coffee. I drank tea before, and so like I have a coffee, like an iced coffee, and I'll have say like a muffin or something, and that just gives me enough energy to get through my workout and without any output coming out. And that's a major thing for me to work out in the gym and not have any output coming out of my bag. It makes me more comfortable that way. The only other thing that does happen, and I can't control it, is when the bag does fart. Unfortunately, I don't hear it. Maybe other people hear it in the gym, but I'm over that. I'm over that now. But
Well, I
that
guess
kind of
when you're
happens
lifting
when
and bracing, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's when you start bracing, things like that are going to happen. But like as
yeah.
well, it's really
But
cool.
like it's pretty good. I haven't had any issues. I do wear a weight belt when I'm like squatting, like heavy weight, like a squat weight, and that's about it. And I thought I couldn't wear a weight belt having the ostomy, but it works out very well. And I only use it usually if I'm doing some kind of heavy back day, or like I said, barbell squats. And I'm glad I can wear a belt. I don't know. I don't know if what I could do without a belt, unfortunately.
And what are you squatting
So
these
yeah.
days? What's your lift now?
Well, I kind of had an injury. I had a quad injury here, so I've been kind of off. But I did squat yesterday, 350 pounds for 8 reps on my last set.
Big lift.
Before the COVID, yeah, before the COVID, it's taken me a long time to get to that. It just didn't happen overnight.
I think that's so important
So
for people to
yeah,
realize as well, because like there's so many times you see people in a gym doing stuff, or you see someone in the street and you kind of like we all do it. We make like a surface level judgment,
right,
and but what you don't see is the hours that go in. It's like it's one of the things I talked about a few years ago. Like every time you get like an Olympic year, particularly for the women, it's like the media starts drooling over like the female athletes, and like then you'll see like, oh, get like 5 minute abs sort of workouts, and you're like going, what? Like
right.
that's an insult for me. That's an insult to the athlete that they're trying to get that wash. Like 5 minutes, you think that person spends 5 minutes? They spent their whole life to get to this point.
Right, right. Yeah, and that's a big thing as well, for anybody like in the gym. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. No matter what supplements you take, it's about the training. It's about the recovery. It's about your food. It's about your nutrition. It takes a very long time. I was up to 415 pounds, and then I went right back down. I'm like I said, I'm like lifting for my health. I'm lifting for a surgery that I might never have or might have. I don't know, but if I can lift more weight, a healthy weight, and be healthy and not have any injuries, I will do it. Obviously, because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel awesome. Nonetheless, right? So every day you go to the gym. Little by little you get there, and there is days where you go back down. It just doesn't mean anything. Our bodies are we're not made out of steel or iron, right? But it happens, and it's just you have to focus and just continue on, no matter how shitty the lifting gets or how hard the days are in the gym. It's I have a guy here that I know, and he's like, I'm just gonna take the day off, and he just started back in the gym. I says, like, why do you want to take the day off? And it's like, well, I'm kind of sore and tired, and I'm like, well, I think that might be the start of your demise of not going back to the gym. Unfortunately, like you hear that about a lot of people. Oh, I'm tired. I'm not gonna. It's
Was
like
this a
if you just
client?
get
Sorry,
food,
was it?
it's just a friend, just a friend. But I think having those, just take a day off. It's so easy to take a day off. It's so hard to go back to the gym because I'm so sore. But those are the things that kind of make you stronger. Those are the things that kind of build the character. On just saying fuck it and going. No more excuses. That's where I'm at. I'm a few years back I was like, yeah, no leg day or something like that. But I don't skip a leg day. I think my legs are my best thing on me, unfortunately. But there's just no more excuses. No more excuses.
Do you ever find
It's
you've got days though where with your IBD that you've got, do you ever experience fatigue or anything like that? Or has there been any instances
uh,
where you struggle with elements of it because or related to the IBD or your ostomy?
absolutely. And I don't think it's from IBD. I don't think it's from Crohn's. I don't think it's from colitis. I think having that major body part removed is a big factor on it being fatigued, a big factor on having the nutrients, a big factor on having anything absorbed into your body. So yeah, I do get fatigued. A good training session in the gym, I'll probably come home and probably nap for a half hour, maybe, or just relax for. I can't do it. Maybe my training sessions are getting more intense, but yeah, I get fatigued. There is a tank. It's a tank, and it goes down pretty quick. And I know that. I manage it pretty well. And that's the my lifestyle that I choose. I choose to do things that reserve the tank, and I'm not on empty all the time. It's
What
just
sort of things do you do nutrition wise then? Because it's really interesting. It's something I'm interested in. I'm always trying to
right,
find new information
right,
because it is such a big thing.
right. So leading up to my surgeries and my sickness, I was a healthy man. I would eat raw vegetables. I loved raw veggies. I juiced a lot. I juiced a lot of raw veggies. I would have sessions like, for 1 month, I would probably juice like twice a week or whatever. I was fairly healthy, eating raw foods and, just having that mentality where this is good for you. This is how your body's going to function and all that sort of stuff. You know, uh, when I got out of my surgeries and I was recovering, I was eating, like weird stuff. I was eating like white bread. I was eating like processed meat. I was eating donuts. I was eating, weird stuff like that. That's not everybody could do that. I was using it as fuel to my body to burn for energy, right? A lot of people, a lot of nutritional people would say that's not a good thing, but it's worked for me. I've cut out I've cut out. So if I'm going to do a vegetable, I'm probably going to juice it. I juice a lot of watermelon. I think watermelon's great. Not everybody might think that. And I learned that from when I was sick in the hospital. I had a very low iron sufficiency. And natural ways, the best way for me was juicing watermelon. It brought my iron levels up. Also, I was taking organic molasses, non-sulfonated organic molasses, straight out of the bottle, just to boost my iron levels up to be healthy. And since I've done all that, my iron levels have been great. I usually get my blood tested every month, see my inflammation levels, enzymes, all that sort of stuff. And that's another major important thing because we all can't see everything in our bodies. So, like, having blood work done regularly will kind of give you some bit of insight on how your body's actually functioning and running. Yeah, so my diet basically consists of ground beef, ground turkey, white rice, yams, eggs, avocados. If I'm gonna do like a vegetable, like a cooked vegetable, I'm probably gonna be with like a couple friends or something because those other people still like to eat vegetables and stuff with their dinners.
So for the most part,
Like
you basically blitz it in the food processor.
yeah, and you know what? I've been doing some research on your gut biome and how your body can break down the toxins that's in our vegetables and all these other things. And there's some studies out there when you have some trauma to your stomach, antibiotics, surgeries, any sort of stuff like that, it starts to do a number on your gut biome, and breaking down foods sometimes just doesn't work anymore. Um, I'll eat like let's say I'll eat a tomato, a little tiny tomato. That thing is gonna make its way on out, and I'll see it. I'll be like, no, okay, that didn't work. I'll eat like a cup of ground beef and a cup of white rice, and I don't know what you know what I mean. So that's absorbing in my body. I try to eat all the things that I can't tell anymore what comes out, and I think that's my way to judge what I can eat and what works for me. And I think everything that I'm doing is working. I feel healthy. Some people say I'm looking healthy. Most people do, but it's a kind of weird conversation to have to somebody that you don't really eat vegetables. Right?
Well, you
So
don't eat them in a conventional way. You tend to do so.
no, and like when it comes down to it, I'm like, oh, maybe I should juice something today. But really, I don't go out of my way to juice anymore. I feel amazing. I'm not taking any energy pills. I'm not taking any, and that's another thing that I stopped taking was a multivitamin. I take multivitamins in like little gel caps, and I'd be able to open them up and stick them in my my smoothies or my shakes. And I don't know why I stopped taking them. Maybe it was the price of them, but I haven't noticed any difference since I've stopped taking them. But one thing I do take is a probiotic. I take a probiotic every day, um, and I think it helps me. I don't know. I feel great. I feel great nonetheless. I also do a vitamin B12 injection, a 1 ml injection of that probably twice a month, and
Do you
that's
take?
great for my mood.
We just had a question from Nicole. She was asking if you take any supplements that are in capsules or tablet form, and how you find your body absorbs them, if any.
Yeah, yeah. If I have any capsules, and I think the best way to do it is in like sprinkle it in your food or sprinkle it in your protein shake. Oral tablets, yeah, they will dissolve. They will dissolve in your body. I think when there was some kind of pill they were giving me in the hospital, and it would come right out. That was the only time, but that was like some kind of hardcore thing they were giving me in the hospital. Like
Yeah,
I
no,
was
totally.
when I
I
was in
think
the
I've had a
hospital.
similar experience. Whenever it comes in a little capsule that you can pull apart, I find that those when you could pull it apart, I would have to pull it apart and sprinkle that. Whereas if it's a
Yeah,
solid tablet, for whatever reason, when it's not in that little shell, I can absorb it. But whenever it was in the shell, um, I would find that I would pass it for whatever reason.
yeah, right. I think just by opening them up, it just kind of gives you a bit more reassurance that you're going to get it. I think like sometimes you can see those gel caps, and like you can get them wet and they'll just stay kind of all gooey, and like I don't know, but that's been my thing. Is always breaking them open and sprinkling them into my shakes. And like I said, I don't take much. Like the thing right now, I'll take like some kind of a liver detox, and I'll take my probiotics. And if something's kind of weird, if I'm kind of feel my immune system's down, I'll drink some colloidal silver. I'll drink some kind of like garlic juice. I try to do things the natural way. Um, when I had a fever, when I was getting like the blockages, I maybe take an aspirin. But really, I'm totally against pharmaceutical drugs, any over the counter drugs. I've made my own kind of healing tinctures from cannabis that work really, really well for pain, for inflammation. I juice raw cannabis, and juicing raw cannabis is great for your inflammation. It's great for Crohn's. It's great for fibromyalgia. It's great for a number of things, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I have a cannabis license. I'm a grower. I grow my own product, and I juice my own product, and it's all organic. Um, so I know what I'm putting in my body. It's a very important thing. When I
It
was
blows
younger,
my mind. It's because this. I think I don't know if it exists in the UK, but I don't know whether it's me being very conservative or not either. But it blows my mind how effective you find it, and it's something as well. I'm not very informed on the topic, but I think it's amazing how much benefit you find, and in particular, like growing your own and using, and therefore, like similar to lots of different things within the food market, knowing its journey from
Mhm.
from its inception, either birth or growth, to putting it into your mouth or into your body is a really
Yeah,
reassuring process. But yeah,
right.
let us know a bit more about like how do you utilize it?
Yeah, so when I got sick, like when I got everything was all said and done, I had to I had to find my own doctor who would and this is before it got legalized in Canada. I had to go find my own doctor and kind of tell him that I think cannabis will be my number one thing for my recovery. It was a big step for me to become somebody like that and to use the cannabis drug as a medicine for me. Before that, it was a socialized drug. You smoke a little bit of cannabis and you laugh and blah 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 blah. Now I'm actually using it to save my life, which I took very serious. And I'm still learning the trade of growing cannabis and growing good cannabis to help me recover. And it's probably going to be in my life for a very long time. Um,
And what
and
is it about it? Like, because it is big news at the minute, and I know that in certainly in the United States and sort of North America, it is becoming a fairly um, big prescription sort of base. Like a lot of doctors are starting to shift into social shifts towards it being sort of more acceptable or better understood, should we say? What is it actually that medicinal cannabis does? Like how does it work? What's its sort of response or action in the body from that sort of perspective?
well, I think it kind of comes down to the strain of cannabis because each strain has a different, like say, a medical attachment to it. Say for like there is some strains that they do say it's great for Crohn's disease, IBD, IBS. There is strains out there that specifically say this will help, right? Well, most of the strains, they prevent pain, they help with your pain. But the big thing that a lot of people don't get is like, okay, well, I'm going to smoke this and I'm going to feel great. Um, it's a process. That you're not using heavy chemicals. You're not using chemicals where they react in or like a timely fashion, right? The thing with cannabis, it has to be in your system, and it always has to be in your system. I think to be working and to be benefiting you. And the reason why I got into juicing raw cannabis is because you're getting 90 to 100% of the cannabinoids. As to if you were to smoke it, you're only say getting about 10 to 15% of like the healthy benefits. So by juicing the raw cannabis, you're getting everything you need. So like, let's say, yeah, this guy doesn't eat vegetables, blah blah blah, but he juices raw cannabis, which is all green leaves. It's very healthy for you. If there's omegas in it, it's a lot of people should do their research. I've tried to talk to people about being in remission with the raw cannabis juice, and like I don't know a lot of people that do it, and a lot of people can't do it because you kind of have to have your own grow up, so to speak. Uh, and I'm very fortunate I can do this, right? It's just everything works out great for me for this type of healing. Yeah,
I think it's really interesting.
it's really somebody's choice. It comes down to their choice, and financially and this and that. Right now, I'm growing all outdoor cannabis, which is energy from the sun and all that sort of stuff. Which is it's all healthy benefits, and I think it's the proper way to do it if you're using the medical cannabis for healing purposes.
So,
It's to
forgive
grow
me
as
ignorance
naturally as
with
you
it.
can.
So you talked about the
Cannabinoids.
cannabinoids. So in my head, I'm looking at it as a dark green leafy vegetable, and I'm wondering, does it have
Yeah.
the same sort of nutrient breakdown as, say, a spinach with the cannabinoids on top of that?
I think it's a lot healthier than most things out there. Like you look at like a piece of lettuce, and I think a piece of lettuce has oh boy, I can't even think of it. I can't even think of it right now, but there's not a whole lot of benefits out of a piece of lettuce. Maybe spinach for sure. Yeah, spinach for sure. But it's all what you're going after. I'm going after for the healing benefits. Spinach doesn't really heal you. Right? Spinach doesn't really reduce your inflammation. Right? Spinach could make you sick. You know, you've heard about it before. Juicing raw cannabis is a lot like wheatgrass, raw wheatgrass. It's kind of it's a similar kind of looking product, but it's totally different. Totally does different things.
What's your take on like CBT oils and stuff like that? Because you've got people that are doing it in an oil form and kind of burn it as in candles and things like that. What's your take on that? Do you think that's effective, or would you be like more like, look, you juice it and that's the way you do it because that's the best way you know?
Like it's very important. I know CBD works for some people, but it also has to pass through your kidneys, and it can cause. I think it can cause some people like cirrhosis in their liver or their liver. I think so. In reality, for people that are really sick, I think they should stick to the raw juice. But the thing is with the raw juice, it's not accessible to everybody. It's like if you're gonna use like a cannabis for healing and stuff like that, I think the raw juicing is the way to go. CBD, like it's got to go through your system, right? It's got to be processed through your system, and if you have bad CBD, it could be harmful for your body, right? But like I said, I'm not a doctor. Really, it's a lot of trial and error, and I think like for a person that's sick, I think probably the best way to ingest cannabis is through their rectum, which is it's another topic, but that is probably one of the safest and cleanest ways for people that are very sick with cancer or some kind of very sickness, and that's to be a safe way to absorb the cannabis, THC and CBD.
I'd never even thought about that either. But then, like most medicine is most effective as a suppository,
Right.
Which is
Right.
true. So why wouldn't it be? Yeah.
So like I've thought about doing that process and helping other people. It's just my circle. I'm not involved. I haven't met that many sick people, and for me to like be in contact with somebody, we'd have to have face to face, live face to face in person, where I could probably give some pointers and point them in the direction, right? Like like my dad was sick. He had stage 4 colon cancer, and I had no knowledge about any of this sort of stuff that I have now. And I wish, I don't wish, but if it was to happen now I have some knowledge, I have some research, I have some skills to point people in directions, to kind of help. Like, if I knew what I knew now, before I got sick, I probably maybe could have had a chance to prevent losing my colon. I believe. Unfortunately, I have all the knowledge now, right? But now I can only just benefit other people that want to learn and listen, and they want the knowledge, right? But even on Instagram, it's like, well, this.
Then you got another phone call.
Yeah.
We just had another question come in from Nicole, and she wants to know if you've heard of Pure 03 hemp suppositories, and what do you make of those, or do you make them yourself?
I've never heard them. I've never heard of them. But I think my process would be, I would probably use like a natural cacao butter into a form with like a high extract of THC. And like a high extract of THC is either like a process called rosin, a process called shatter, one of those. And probably rosin would probably be the best for a suppository, because there's no solvents, there's no chemicals involved in the process of making rosin. I know you're probably wondering what it all means, but there's some people out there that they can research rosin, and rosin is one of the more less abrasive ways to get that extract, the THC extract, and using like a cacao butter mixed with your extract. I think that would be the way to do it. It's just, do you want to buy suppositories off me? Like I don't know, it's one of those things. I've had a few people message me about their parents being full of cancer, and that's what I recommend. I would recommend a suppository with a high extract, between 25 and 30% THC, and just keep going with it, because you just never know. I make there's a product called Rick Simpson oil, RSO oil, and there has been like a lot of people taking that with stage 4 cancer, stage 5 cancer, and they take this Rick Simpson oil and puts them in remission. I make a similar thing, but it's made out of a grain alcohol, and it's pretty much the same thing as Rick Simpson oil. It's just a little different method of ingesting it with alcohol than the oil. It's a big world. It's a big world.
It's a really fascinating topic as well, and it's like we just touched on, we just scraped the surface, and it's already that's huge. Like that's I think we spent like 20-25 minutes and we've not even got into it really. But that's blown my mind, because that's such a new topic to me. Like
Right.
And again, like it can be such, because it's so, new is the wrong word, but new socially, I think for like a medicine and becoming more popular, it can seem such a strange thing when somebody's always turn around and say, this is the medication that I'm on. It kind of like, certainly for me, like my brain goes, what? You're doing what? But like the facts are becoming, well, not, I don't want to say the facts are becoming clear, but the research is starting to mount up massively, like because like what baffles me, and it's quite true, is that, as you've said before, it's quite a natural, or it is a natural organic medicinal plant. And yet we, for some reason in this world, feel that it's better to put a chemistry experiment into our bodies, for want of a better word. So like one of the guys I spoke to recently, and I still talk to them as a collective, in a group, we're talking about things like opioids and usage of different types of pain medication. And obviously you can use cannabis for pain management as well. And it's just interesting that we will take strains and concoctions of more addictive substances and hold them in a higher regard or a safer regard than we would when we discuss cannabis in a medicinal form. It just it's a social construct. It's more than an actual looking at the facts, I think.
Yeah. I think it's just a matter of time, using medicine, pharmaceutical chemicals, like the medicine that you get from the doctors. I think it's just, that's what we've been bred into. We've been, okay, we got a problem, let's go see the doctor because he'll fix us. It's like, people that are keeping an unhealthy life, oh, now I got to go see the doctor because I'm sick. These sort of things that make you rely on a doctor and think, oh, the doctor's going to fix me. But the doctor's not going to fix you. He's going to give you what he thinks is going to help you. And, we jump the gun too quick. And we go to the doctor, crying to the doctor, can you help me again? And I think that's bred into everybody, and no matter who you are, what you are, and that's our safe option. Oh, I'm sick, I gotta go to the hospital. Oh, I'm sick, I gotta go see the doctor. He's gonna give me something good. It might be good, it might help, but it's like here we are, we're talking about Crohn's and IBD and sort of stuff, and like I said, I knock on wood, I haven't had any prescription drugs. I've been safe free, and like I can't say 100% of that is from the cannabis. I'd like to say that, but I just, maybe I have good luck. Maybe I never had Crohn's. I don't know what it is, but I chose to use cannabis, and maybe that I believe in it so much that it's working, right? Like I just don't have the proof, and I can't say that I'm in remission because of the cannabis. I can't say that 100%, but I'm going to say that I use it, and I'm going to continue using it. And like look at what's his name there? The Cheech and Chong guys. What's his name? Tommy Chong, the guy with the beard from those movies. He has an ostomy bag, and he smoked cannabis all his life, right? And nobody really knows these sort of things until you kind of dig deep. Like, who's got it last minute? Hey, Tommy Chong was smoking cannabis his entire life. How come he's got an ostomy? How come that didn't help his Crohn's? How come that didn't, make him healthy? So okay, so maybe he never juiced raw cannabis. Who knows, right? So, there's no proof. And I like to say the proof's in the pudding, but I haven't juiced raw cannabis for about 2.5 months, just because I'm kind of out right now. I'm just waiting for my outdoor crop to be harvested, and I'll be back up and running. But I feel great nonetheless. So it's like, I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I'm gonna say this is what I'm using, and it helps me out regardless. Especially with you're having a depressive week. There is some cannabis strains that I've smoked, and I'm like, hey, I'm not depressed no more. That must have been the cannabis, right? I feel great. Like, it was an hour ago I smoked that joint, and now I feel great. I can get up, I can go do my day. The depression might come back, but hey, let's just go smoke another joint and see what happens, right?
And I don't know the process of what happens chemically when you do take substances like that, but I do know that medication that you take for a prescriptive medication for depression or prescriptive medication for pain, some of those significantly impact your life in other ways. So you're actually less like some of those medications make you exceptionally drowsy. Some of those medications can make you exceptionally paranoid. Like the side effects of taking those seems to me from a very uneducated position to almost outweigh the benefit of consuming them versus what you're telling me about the cannabis, where there is obviously clear downsides that can occur if taken inappropriately. But from the perspective that I'm hearing from you, like I'm like, it's not. I don't want to sound like a no-brainer or nothing like that, but I'm just like, there seems to be less issues with taking a medicinal cannabis prescription versus heavily impactful secondary symptoms from taking an actual authorized drug, which is it blows my mind. It really does. I'm just like, what is going on?
Well, you really got to think about what it's doing to your internal body, and that's so, you know, when I was younger, in my younger days, I did a lot of extreme snowboarding. We'll say, like, let's say snowboarding and logging, and I put my body through a lot of abuse. And those early days, in my early 20s, I did take.
Oh, we've lost your mic. There we go. I think we've got you back.
Okay. Yeah. So, like I'm just saying, you know, there is, I get it. Like, there is some medications that will help you, but the effects that it does to your internal body is not my thing. I just, you know, so like there's not much damage that can happen when you have medical cannabis. There's nobody dying from it. There's no weird side effects, you know, like I think it's a natural way. Other than, and I get it, I know people sometimes need the pharmaceutical drugs, unfortunately. But you know what? If you can avoid it, you got to do it, because you don't know what's happening into your body over the years. Like, you know, maybe that one pill is like drinking, 12 glasses of beer every day. I don't know, right? I don't know, and I know that those kind of medications, they are very damaging to your body. You know, and especially like if you have these like IBD symptoms, I think it's very important to stay away from all that stuff and sourcing something else out that can benefit you. It might not be as strong, and it might not do that job that those chemicals are doing to you, but the benefits of your internal body benefiting from that is more greater, right? It's more greater, I believe. So, you know, if I have to research all these things for the rest of my life, where I don't have to put harsh stuff into my body, then I probably will, right? So
I think one of the crazy things for me, again, just from this conversation, is like what you're just touching on there, and some of the pharmaceutical grade drugs that we do end up getting put on. I remember having to sign waivers and have 3 pages of listed known side effects and the percentage of population that they know these to potentially affect. So you'd like 1 in 10,000, 1 in a million, 1 in 100,000, so to speak, chances of this potentially happening, and you have to sign off when the hospital say, yeah, all right, I'm aware. But then on top of that, it's like, oh, well, because you're on this now, we need you to take this medication to counteract the effects of that on your liver or your kidneys or your heart. And all of a sudden, like, from having to take one medication, you're then going, oh, I've now got to take 4 medications to balance the side effects of that medication. And then this one balances side effects of that. It's just, it blows my mind. And like, again, like just talking to you, I'm like going, oh, well, if you could just take one that doesn't have any side effects,
right,
surely that makes more sense. But then, do big pharmaceutical companies make enough money off of that? I guess that's the question. And I think that's one of the main issues within North America or countries where there is privatized healthcare. The UK is slightly different, and some countries in Europe that are still public healthcare systems don't tend to be too badly pulled into that. But we still like, you know, we still have issues with medication, and like the stuff I just talked about, massive lists of side effects and balancing acts of numbers of different drugs to counteract side effects of other drugs. But I think certainly in North America, where hospitals and doctor surgeries may have an arrangement, and if I put him on this medication, that means I'll get a bump in my story for whatever. Not that to me is a little bit weird when it comes to healthcare professionals.
Yeah, and a lot of people are people know about that. A lot of people talk about that, and I don't think it's going to take long until you start seeing, like, in healthcare facilities, that they are using medical cannabis. Because the way that things are working, there's new people coming into the healthcare industry, and the new people that are coming in are young, and they have this insight of this new drug called cannabis. So I think it's just a matter of time before it's all integrated into like a daily dose of cannabis for these people. Like, there's some people that are eating like cupfuls of pills in the morning to do this, to do that, to do this, to do that, and that person's laying there all day, unhappy. Like, maybe let's just give them some cannabis. Like, when I was in the hospital, sick, recovering in ICU, there was 2 days. I had 2 days of grace where they didn't give me any drugs, and I was able to get out of bed. I was able to look out the window, and I had a realization that the drugs are shit. They're not doing anything other than, and I fasted for those 2 days, and I felt amazing. And I told the doctor, I says, you know what? This is the best I felt in 30 days. And he's like, whoa. I'm like, it's because you got me off the drugs. All this prednisone, all this weird shit you guys are giving me. You're just pumping it in my body. Fucking pumping it in my body. 2 days, I felt great. I want to get the fuck out of here. And back after that, back to 18 hours of IV bags of stuff they're pumping in my body. And then, not to mention all the pain medication that they're giving me too. To wean myself off that. So to get off those drugs, I had my ex-wife bringing in cannabis, medical edibles, and tinctures and food that was full of THC. And their doctors would come in and say, "Would you like your pain meds today?" I says, "No." And that went on for a week, and that was how I was able to get out of the hospital. Right? There was an issue. There was an issue with my breathing in the hospital, and all they gave me was more pain medication. When I got out of the hospital, I Googled it, and it was the anesthetics coming out of my system. Right? The doctor never told me that. Right? I had to Google that myself, because when I was in there, I said, something's wrong with me. It feels like my lungs are broken, or it feels like my rib cage is broken. And they're like, okay, well, on top of the pain meds, we'll give you some more pain meds. I'm like, okay, sure. Right? I don't know what's wrong. You guys are the doctors. You guys should be telling me what's wrong, but obviously they couldn't. Even though they gave me scans, they gave me this, they gave me that. They still couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I got home, got on the Google, bingo bango, there it is. That explains why I was having those issues, right? And they kept saying to me, "Mike, you have to get off the drugs. You have to stop taking the drugs so you can get out of the hospital." I'm like, okay, well, the drugs are kind of in my system, and you guys keep giving them to me. I'm like, why don't you guys give me some cannabis? Oh, well, we can't. We can give you a synthetic cannabis. I'm like, well, I don't know what a synthetic cannabis is. So, illegally, I had it brought up to me. But that's the way I recovered and got my ass out of the hospital. So, it does work. It's a sad process. It's a sad process. And like, I remember sitting in there and looking at those IV bags, and like, they're not even working. Like, they're not coming out. They're barely coming out. Like, it's just give me some cannabis. Let's get the hell out of here, right? Let's get healthy. Right? So I believe in it. I'm gonna stick. Yeah. So, I'll advocate cannabis for sure. Some cannabis can hurt you. Some cannabis can harm you, unfortunately. And there's the medical grade, and then there's social grade. I don't know how to say it, but yeah. It's a deep conversation, cannabis, nonetheless.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling that. I'm conscious of time at the minute because it's closely getting to 10 o'clock in our time. But what if you could sum up, what would your advice be to someone that's broaching into this? You can talk to it from a medicinal cannabis perspective or from your general experience perspective. But someone just coming into IBD and needing medical attention, what would your advice be for them?
I think the best advice I could probably give somebody is, have a support team, a major support team to have behind you to help you, because I don't think I had the greatest. I wish I could have had a little bit better of a support team for information, and unfortunately, my situation, I didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to do the research. I didn't have the time to buckle down and do something about this. It was your life or anyways. So I would recommend for people to have the research done, specifically natural research, like natural remedies. Not necessarily cannabis, right? Cannabis can't just be the number one thing. But yeah, having a support team, doing your research, listening to your body, and this might work for this guy, but it might not work for you. And just knowing that there's going to be so many ups and downs, and you can't let those things deter your journey on becoming a healthy human being with going through these life-threatening diseases, like either cancer or IBD or Crohn, any of that kind of stuff. It's important your research, because, like I said, we always go back to the doctor crying about our problems, unfortunately, and we have to realize that it's sometimes not the greatest option for us out there, and like sometimes doing your natural researching and for the natural remedies is sometimes it's just not enough. Like, it's just not enough, and you have to go through the process of seeing the doctor and going through that journey of that process. But I think if you just always keep in mind that pharmaceutical drugs and the doctors saying this, saying that, it might not always be what you need. Um, you know, After I got out of the hospital and I went to see my surgeon a month later, he didn't even recognize me. He didn't know who I was, right? Because of my own research that I've done to have a good recovery, right? So it's all about the work you put in. It's about how bad you want to have a good recovery, and unfortunately, life can prevent a lot of this stuff from happening. Unfortunately, and it's a sacrifice that you have to be willing to take. Is to sacrifice a lot of things for your own self healing, and it might be selfish to some other people, but in reality, it's your life, and you got to put the work in 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you were kind of leading
Because
into my
like
next question for
the
you, which
best, like,
is, oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying you were leading into my
go on.
sort of next question very nicely. And it's part of the podcast where I've robbed it off Lewis Howes. He calls it the three truths, and it's your last day many years from now on Earth, and everything you've ever done or created or put out into the world it disappears, and you have the opportunity to leave three truths that you would want the world to sort of learn, or life lessons, if you will, that you would want to leave behind that people could learn from. What would your three truths be? You went deep. You went
Oh,
deep.
my three truths, eh? Um, I think really is shedding your ego and learning about your sacrifices and sacrificing things to benefit yourself. It's a big one, and like just being comfortable with making sacrifices and shedding one's ego. Ego is one of the biggest things that can prevent us from reaching our true goals. So yeah, probably shedding your ego is one of the biggest things, um, and just being honest to yourself and to have gratitude for everything you do. I think, and like sometimes you don't know that gratitude, but having gratitude, putting forward into your workmanship, or like your gratitude can show in anything that you do in life. Just
I think that's really
tying your
important as
shoelace,
well. Yeah.
tie, tying your shoelaces. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna put gratitude into this. It's just tying your shoes, but tying my shoes might affect my business. And I think, yeah, you could talk of gratitude, but I think your actions towards putting your actions into gratitude things, it speaks a really loud thing. And even if it's only you that notices it, I think it's a major thing is to exercise your gratitude. If it's in your business, if it's in your health, or if it's just your partner, is to exercise your gratitude. Nonetheless, your gratitude, your ego, and your sacrifices.
I think they're really positive life models, so to speak. I think you wouldn't go far wrong in life just by living that. Like,
Yeah,
sacrificing your ego, honesty, and just gratitude. And I think gratitude is probably for me the biggest one. Because if you've got gratitude, I think
yeah,
generally speaking, your ego will probably disappear. Um, or
yeah.
certainly wouldn't be the lead. But yeah, and speaking of gratitude, I mean, I just want to appreciate you for a minute, and just say thank you so much for coming on to the show. I really appreciate your honesty in sharing your story and not shying away from any of the questions that I asked you, because it's hard sometimes just to have these conversations in person, let alone being recorded and putting out to the world. And I really appreciate that. And the service that you give in doing so, like it just helps so many other people. So I really appreciate that, and I hope that your journey continues to be as rewarding as it has been thus far for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. I really appreciate the time. Um, Another thing I just want to say is that I went for a very long time without contact with any, and Instagram has been my another big healing process for me in my recovery, and getting to meet other people with these sort of conditions. And I don't know if I would have never reached out on Instagram, how my recovery would be, but it's played a huge role. Everybody that's there has played a huge role in my recovery, big time. Everybody that I'm friends with on Instagram and everybody that I follow is helped me out so much, because, like I said, I didn't have the support that I thought I should have had. And Instagram started off with a fitness thing for me, but then it became my recovery to my surgery and my ostomy bag. It was a huge thing, and I will never forget that. Right, it was a huge recovery, and I think putting people in your life that are positive, open-minded, and people that want to heal and they want to see you heal, they want to see recovery, and open-minded people is a great tool. So the more the merrier on Instagram. It's great. It's been my only outlet to talk and to see other people, right? To see other people transform their lives and transform their bodies and recover and be like a warrior, right? Because this is a true warrior's battle. Um, it's harder than financial battles. It's harder than a lot of stuff because you're in public. You're dealing with your life. it's not on paper, it's not on the internet, it's real, it's very real. And Instagram's a huge thing. And I think they should, everyone should have that. So
just on that, like who would you recommend, like, or who's been the biggest impact for you that you've followed, so to speak, like, or who are your favorite followers, should we say?
you know what? I don't really have a favorite follower. I think, you know, the people that put out lots of content is great too. But I think the people that are just there in general to talk to are the people that stand out the most. Right? Because I put out there that I'm here to talk, I'm here to offer my knowledge, my research. You know, I can't post things all the time. I like to try to post stuff on my progress. But I think it's very important to be open-minded on Instagram. And what I mean by that is, like, always have my DMs are open, right? To talk, to give advice, and that's where I've shined the most. And I'm not saying necessarily these people have taken my advice, but I think just knowing this person knows that I can give them advice, or they can have another option to think about is very important. It's stronger than any kind of posts, stronger than any kind of questions, right? So, and that's what I kind of expected when I first got onto Instagram, was I can message this guy and, like, look at him, man. He's bodybuilding. He has an ostomy bag. I gotta talk to him, right? People that I see, you know, and I've heard stories about, you know, bodybuilders. They've had fully colon removed, and they're living this awesome life, and they're still giving her, like, they still look good, right? So that gives me inspiration, that I'm gonna be okay, right? But it's doing your research. Like I said, Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong movies, I never knew he had an ostomy bag, right? And finding these things out, it's like, it inspires me that life's gonna be good. And you know, it gives me motivation to try even harder, right? So, you know, I think having an open door thing on Instagram is very important. It's stronger than any kind of post out there, because a person that reaches out to you that's sick, it takes a lot of it takes a lot, right? It takes a lot of encourage, like, it takes a lot of balls to do it, basically. Hey, you know, what's, you know, a big question that I always had was intimacy, right? That was always a big thing. But, you know, you don't see much of that out here, the intimacy. And I think that's you know, having that dialed in, intimacy with an ostomy bag, colostomy bag, or whatever kind of thing. That's I think we need more of that. I think we need more intimacy topics, and there's not much of it, right? I've tried to speak to a few people about it. You don't really get a lot of answers. And, like, I've had my own journey of intimacy with this bag, and it's been up and down, right? But that's a big thing, intimacy. Anyways, that's another topic, right?
Yeah, we're definitely finding them out tonight. We're finding them all tonight. Thank you so much for coming on, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Okay, guys, if you've liked the video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.